over here jamming to the intro. Boom, boom,
I'm interviewing for the drummer position.
All right. You interviewing for the drummer position?
Good
You
morning,
idiot.
everybody. We pray your day is going well this morning. We're coming back with another podcast. Listen, we are wanting you to say that you like, you subscribed, and you shared this video. So do me a favor. Go ahead and like, subscribe, and share. But good morning, everybody. Hey, my love.
Good morning, sir.
What's up, D?
What up?
We're another day in the podcast studio here at Enterprise Studios.
Yes.
Now we want to
I like how that sounds.
Enterprise Studios.
Yes, I like that.
Yeah, but no, man, we got a lot that we're gonna talk about today. So a lot that as we're taking an embrace to who we are as a podcast, I think we're really realizing that this is a extension of the Lions Den, and so we got to make sure we drop some infomercials in here of the Lions Den since it's gonna be the extension of the Lions Den. Shout out to the Lions Den, all the Lions Den members. Do me a favor. I need you to do me a favor and like, subscribe, and share this out with everyone. This is your way of kind of just watching us and hearing from us. We're going to talk about a lot of topics, but we definitely want to highlight the fact that, we want to encourage business owners to keep pushing, keep driving, keep striving. I mean, the last podcast was pretty awesome. We talked. What was the title of the last one? Can't remember. We talked about a lot of.
I have no idea. I
can't remember it either. I know you couldn't see because you're squinching now.
No, I can't see again.
But so I think today, man, this discussion was derived from I guess I want to say epiphany. Yeah, an epiphany I had. One thing about business, if you've been in business at all, and if you've been in business, I want you to drop in the comments and say, I've been doing business. If you've been in business at all, I want to know who I'm talking to. Just drop in and say, I have been doing business. Matter of fact, even let me know how many years. If you've been doing 1 year, 2 year, 3 year, 4 year, 5 year, I would love to hear that. But I had an epiphany the other day. If you've been doing business and not just hustle, which I don't knock a hustle.
Right.
Hustle is good. And what I define hustling is that you work in the Monday to Friday, 8 to 5, and you got a little side hustle on the side, making a little change, right? And that's cool. A side hustle is cool. Matter of fact, you know how some people didn't get a chance to really date? Like me and you didn't get a chance to date. We went straight from, high school to marriage, seemed like. I feel like we didn't get a chance to hustle. We went straight from making, a little money to making money to run the business. And when you're in a place where you're making money to run a business, that means every transaction is important because you got to pay for the lights, you got to pay for the water, you got to pay for the staffing, you got to pay for all these things. So one thing about it, the longer you get into this journey of business, it costs, and that cost equals fear, and that fear equals the fact that I don't know if we can make the check next week and make the check. The more money you make, the more bills you make, the more stressful you get. Would you agree on that?
Yeah, the more overhead you have, and I think that's why I tell people all the time, don't judge what you don't understand when it comes to people in business, is because there is an overhead and it's fearful.
Yeah.
You don't know if you're going to meet that overhead. You don't know if you're going to be able to pay for that overhead, especially when there's nothing, no clients, no customers. And here's the crazy thing is that this is the season that people are going on vacation, especially, they're going out of town. I always say June and December is that year of, business owners we get nervous. I know for us, I can't speak for everybody else in the construction world, in the marketing world, in different worlds. You don't know what's going to happen in these months.
Yep. And so when thinking about this whole reason for this podcast is that in that, I guess, paper chase, you start off one way. We're going to talk about the start here in a second. But now you get in the middle of it. And pretty sure many of y'all entrepreneurs been out there to where, especially if you're one of those entrepreneurs who you to stay open, you got to keep making transactions. I mean, if you're not making transactions, something's going to be lost, whether it's a car, whether it's an employee, whether it's the business itself. And so when you're in that transactional paper chase, you tend to get fearful and you're asking God, man, God, when's next? And it's stressful. You get to be very stressed. So today I want to deal with not just the stress, but I want to deal with today the reason we shouldn't be stressed if we started the right way, like from the beginning. So I want to kind of talk about today, a feeling I got today, that epiphany. And that epiphany was we were sitting back and I was working in the yard, getting the day started. And while I was getting the day started, I'm worried once again about, God, when the next contract coming through, when this happening. And even the thought crossed my mind about if we lost everything, what would we do? And when I thought about that, the first thing that came across my mind was you started with nothing.
Yeah.
You started with nothing. Not only started with nothing, God told you to start a business. And that business God told you to start, you started it. And every day since, back from 2020,
Mm-hmm.
every day since, God has increased, God has added, God has provided. Go ahead.
Yeah, it's like you started. You really, and I know we say started with nothing. Like as you was talking, I'm like, dang, we started with an idea. All we
Mhm.
had was an idea to do something, an idea that could this work, an idea, and maybe that person. I want to speak to that person that you just have an idea
Mhm.
that I got an idea to start. If it's a health care, you know, uh, home health care, or if it's a catering business or whatever it is. I got this idea that I want to do something, and I'm not just trying to do it just to do it, but I'm doing it. And you got to be honest with yourself. I'm doing it for a couple of reasons. Number one, I'm doing it because I want to see financial freedom.
Yeah.
Listen, if that's you, I'm gonna need you to say that's me, man. I want to do. David say that's me. I want to see financial freedom, right? Another reason you got to be honest with yourself, and I think that's the thing, we don't want to be honest with ourselves. I want to be financially
Yeah.
free.
Yeah.
The second reason is that, and I shared this with the Monday roar with the Lions Den we're doing every Monday, and I share with them not just financially free, but I also want to get to a point to where I literally am building a legacy for my family. Or number three, I want generational wealth. And you got to be honest. That's why I'm doing this. Yes, Lord, I trust you. Yes, God, I want to be humble while I'm doing it. Yes, I want to do it the right way. But I got to be honest with myself. I'm starting with an idea, but I don't even know what that outcome is
Yeah.
or what that is going to be. But I know I want financial freedom.
Yeah. And
I know I want to be free in what I do.
when you said that this morning, because I put on there because God said, but then you said I want you to go deeper, and for me to go deeper, my why was having the authority, in my time, having the authority in my money, having the authority. Also, I think it was my time, money, and I can't remember what else it was. But it was having the authority, and without authority, I feel like somebody else controls me. Somebody controls my family. Somebody can fire me in a day. And so we had to have that. But I think back on it, as we kind of just navigate through this discussion, as we kind of realize God started us,
Hmm.
and I'm gonna kind of just hang out there just for a second. God started us. Like my
That's the
phone's going
business
crazy.
phone. I know the
Oh,
phone's going crazy.
but God,
It's 8 o'clock in the
yeah,
morning.
but God
Business has
started
started.
us, and if God started us, back then we had nothing. All we had then was a hope.
Yeah.
We didn't have a hope. We just had like just hey, you want those faith walks, you know what I'm saying? Hey, what if it works? If it didn't
Right.
work, if it did or didn't work, didn't matter.
Right.
And so all we had was this, and so we had this thought that God gave us to start a business.
Hmm.
But yeah, so man, as we started this business and we kind of thought about it, all we had was a thought. All we had was an idea. It wasn't even it wasn't even if it works or if it don't work. It's just, hey, let's try something. And we tried it, and every step of the way it worked. So I want to talk to that one person right now before we go too deeper. Is that person who's right now just sitting back thinking, should I start? They're trying to overthink it, over
Hmm.
analyze it, trying to see if it. What would you say to that person who's out there like, man, I want to start a business, but I want it to be perfect. I want to make sure I got this. I want to make sure I got that. I want to make sure I got all this stuff together. What would you say to that person? That person who right now procrastinate the heck out of it.
Yeah, I would say this. I am you and you are me. That's my thing, right? I'm you and you are me because I've been there and I've procrastinated, I've paused, I've waited, I've delayed. Like this retreat I'm trying to do. I procrastinated on it for so long. And now that it's here and I'm actually doing it, I'm doing it afraid.
Mhm.
I would say to that person that no matter what it may looks like, and even now I want to paralyze. I want not paralyze.
Hey,
Hey,
almost.
procrastination is like paralyzed,
Like
right?
just stop. Just get that's like depression. Get in the bed, sit there, don't do
Yeah.
nothing.
I literally want to say, pump the brakes. Let's not do this. This doesn't look like it's going to unfold the way that it is. But I realized that, okay, I had the idea 2 years ago. If I keep procrastinating on it and I keep waiting on it, I'm going to continue to be paralyzed in this approach of what I know, the idea of what God gave me to do. And not just God, because I don't want to put everything on God. It's an idea. And I will say God gave me the idea, but the
Yeah,
unction
because
in the
you say everything is literally
yeah,
tied
yeah,
together.
it is. But it's like it's one of those you get the idea, but you don't think that you're adequate enough. You don't think that you have enough. You don't think that you become fearful, you become doubtful. And I know where you are. I
Mhm.
know how that feels. But I come to tell you, you won't know until you actually move forward and take the moment of failing forward. Take the moment of saying that no matter what, I know that what I have in me is enough. I've done retreats before, even if you haven't done the thing that you're trying to do before, but I know someone else that has done it. Let me kind of get around them, get in their community, find out, invest in myself to learn more on how to do it. And
Yeah,
that's what I know we had to do within starting with nothing.
yeah,
We had to find out. YouTube University became my best friend.
yeah,
YouTube, I literally, it was my university. I don't care. I didn't go to college. I mean, I don't, that's not right. I want to one day, maybe. But I realized that's not my thing.
yeah,
But I realized this that YouTube University, I learned from that. But I also learned, here's the caveat. I also learned how to eat the meat and spit out the bones because everybody on social media is not really moving in it. I don't see your feet don't have your feet don't have success. Your footprints don't have success.
yeah,
So I got to look at your footprints versus what you say. And so for now, our coach that is now, we've been rocking out with her for 6 years.
yeah,
You know what I'm saying? I didn't invest into her until 2 years in. So I would say to that person, start with YouTube University if you have no money. You know you start with nothing. That's what we did. We started with nothing. But I started seeing other people do it and seeing their footprints and watching their steps and like, dang, they did it.
yeah,
Like my book, first book I ever wrote. I had to watch somebody else do it and come to find out she had written 9 books and she did it herself. Self-published her books. So now I have a book publishing company. Come on. Like who would have thought? But it was watching that person and seeing what they were doing in order to. So get back to your question. The thing is that I would tell that person, if you continue to procrastinate, you will become paralyzed in your approach to your purpose. Let me say that again. If you continue to become procrastinate, you're going to paralyze in your approach to your purpose.
yes.
You're going to miss out on your purpose and you're not going to get to your destiny and you're going to end up taking, come on here, I'm going to be rocking out Tuesday morning talking about this, going to probably already post, but whatever, talking about how you don't want to take your dreams to the grave. What's his name said that? He died on the plane.
Oh yeah,
Miles Monroe.
Monroe.
Miles Monroe say, "Do not take your dreams to the grave. You want to make sure that if you got this idea, because here's the thing, God don't have to use you
Yep.
to get it done. Damn it, I found that out. I said, okay, Lord, you can use somebody else. But since you give me the idea, go ahead and use me. I've seen since God told me to do a retreat out of state, not in my city, not in my state, but do it out of state. I've seen multiple people do retreats out of state. I've seen so many people go before
So
me.
basically, the thing that we're afraid of has already been done.
It's already been done.
So what we got to do is get rid of the thing that's fearful to us,
Mm-hmm.
and then it will be able to tap into the same thing someone else has done.
Same thing. And
Yeah.
because there's nothing new under the sun.
Yep. Yep.
Somebody else has done it before you. But here's the Lord, what is my new word? Caveat.
Yeah.
Here's the caveat though. The thing is that it's when you start to copy what someone else does and it's really not your
Or
vision
worse than this, when you start trying to get the results
of what
of
someone
what
else.
someone's got,
Yeah.
because what happened is you starting with the end and not the beginning.
You better preach, sir.
It's like you can't work backwards. You can't, say,
Mm-mm.
"Hey, I want a cake like this because somebody cooked this cake." You got to have desire. Like, man, you know, I like ingredients, and I think I can make a cake. But if you just want to cook cake because you like how it looked, it's
Mm-hmm.
not gonna work. If you want to know a program, I want that program. You got to start with in your heart. Like,
In your
man,
heart, yeah.
I feel like I'm supposed to help women with a program.
Mm-hmm.
Let me go find somebody who done it.
Mm-hmm.
Then you trace all the way back to the beginning and say, what did they do step 1? What did they do step 2? What did they do step 3? What did they step 4? And now once you got all these steps, now you got to ask yourself, okay, but do step 1, even though I got this step 1, how do I make step 1 look like me? Now I got
Yeah.
step 2. How do I make step 2 look like me? The moment you go from, hey, I want to create this women's program, this retreat, and you go find these steps 1 through 4, and you do it exactly like them, you're trying to
Yeah.
get the ending product. You're not trying to get
Did
your
that.
ending product.
Yeah.
But when you go to those steps and you say, hey, step 1, man, I like the step 1, but I'm gonna tweak it up like this. And step 2, I'm gonna tweak it up like that. In step 5, and then once you get to tweaking it all up, you're gonna probably change the whole thing. It's
Mm-hmm.
gonna be you, but you still need to say, you know what, man, you will have the appreciation of that person and say, man, thank you for
Yeah.
helping me not have to start from ground zero. Thank you for giving me a
Yes.
base. You have a new appreciation for that person because they gave you the roadmap to success
Mm-hmm.
while you was allowed to get your identity and put in it.
That's why I forever and a day give a shout out to Nona Jones. And I'm going to forever invest into what Nona Jones has going on
Mhm.
because when I took her program, I learned so much.
Yeah.
I didn't want to do it like her, but I knew I kept hearing mentorship and I need to be in a mentorship program so that I can understand what this meant.
Yeah.
She does it totally different than me.
Yeah.
Of course, she got a bigger following than me, but Nona Jones is my girl, like forever, because of what she does. She's getting ready to do a book in October. I will be doing a book thing so that other people can buy her book.
Yeah.
I invest in her and what she's doing because of what she's doing. I would say this too. I thought about something when you said that. I thought about this, and this may be something different. But when I think about starting from ground zero, I think about and getting the idea. This is what I think about, David. It's like your idea keep whispering to you. You know what I'm saying? It keep you can't sleep.
Yeah.
It just keep going. Like when I think of Lions Den, when I think of the retreat, when I think of New Destiny Church, when I think of San Jacinto County Outreach, I couldn't sleep. We couldn't sleep. It just kept going. You may be at that point where you can't sleep, man. That's when you know that idea is going to turn into something way bigger than you, way more than you. I never forget last year. I've been this retreat, and I hate to keep talking about this, but it's like this thing has been in my gut, been in my belly, and I think Devin, I keep reminding myself so I won't quit on it.
But that's the important part though, because and I want to make sure I want you to remember that you want to mind yourself so you kept
Mm-hmm.
feel like retreat. But I want you to
Mm-hmm.
mind, that's the reason why this podcast is so important today because we're talking to two people, that person who's afraid to start and that person who
Mm-hmm.
started and they want to quit.
Yeah.
And you gotta always go all the way back to the beginning.
Yeah.
And if you go back to the beginning, that beginning piece that should give you encouragement that
Yeah.
I didn't ask for this.
I didn't ask for this.
And the way it got started, if you look at the way it got started, God blessed it the whole time. And
Mm-hmm.
God blessed it. Watch this here. You started out in the passenger seat
Mm-hmm.
and now you grabbing the steering wheel.
Yeah.
We done took this whole journey
Yeah.
and you was in the passenger seat doing what God told you to do. And now you're afraid because it done got bigger than you, and now you want to start taking the steering wheel.
Yeah,
If
Lord.
you couldn't start it, you sure can't finish it.
Right.
But
That
yeah, I
part.
wanted to tell you that's the important part. Going back, but you said you kept feeling
Yeah, it's
retreat.
and I say that because, like I said, it keeps coming up. It keeps everywhere you go, everywhere, every conversation you listen to, it keeps happening. Maybe it's just me. Maybe I don't know, but that's how God does it with us. It's like it keeps coming up, and I remember being invited to a retreat to be the main speaker.
Yeah.
I had never done that in my life. Never spoke at a retreat. I get to this retreat and shout out to Nikki Berry. I love her so much. Nikki, I love you if you ever watch this. But Nikki Berry invited me because she saw something in me. And never been to, I've done conferences. Now remind you, this retreat thing keep coming up in my spirit. And I'm telling Nikki that, dang, I want to do a retreat and da. So I get to this retreat, don't know no one there. You know what I'm saying? And, God does what he does. Amazing retreat. She has another one, I think, coming up really, really soon. Hey, go follow her. Watch out for that. Amazing. She's been doing it for a couple of years, right? And I want to go to this year that she does just to be in a part of what she's doing to support her, right? But I remember being at that retreat and it was like, so you gonna keep waiting? So you gonna keep sitting on this?
And the thing is, every time you talk about retreat, I secretly discourage you from doing it so that you wouldn't do it. And through the years, And so I think you put it off over the years because of my fear, no different than
Really?
business and everything. My fear of you overtaxing financially over this thing,
Ugh,
and that's always my fear. My fear, and so a lot of times my fear has it seemed like it was trying to control you not to, but it's more trying to control you, protecting you from the
the
uh the,
blow of it.
the blow of it. And
Yeah.
so to see you this year feel as though I had to do it, and I was supportive because I'm at this point like, hey, just do it. Let's just see what happens.
Yeah.
Worst case scenario, I'd rather see you fall forward and figure out what the next step would be than continue having the frustration of not even starting it,
Yeah.
and moving forward. And so I'm proud of you for even, taking a major, massive faith step,
Yeah.
even setting it up and putting. I think God gonna honor that though.
Yeah, and I feel like this is that and I know this ain't about this, but I feel like yesterday with a young lady that showed up that was at that retreat
Mhm.
that came to our church and was like, I didn't even know her. I don't know her, Lord bless. If she watching, I don't mean no harm, but I didn't remember her, didn't know who she was, but she remembered me.
Yeah,
Which, oh my God, I'm not finna cry on this thing. Which kind of made me say, okay, God, this is scary,
yeah,
but I trust you
yeah,
because I'm starting, to me, even though I've done multiple retreats, I'm starting at ground zero.
yeah.
I'm starting at ground zero, but I remember starting at ground zero, having nothing
Yeah.
and seeing where we are now and God unfolding it.
I think it's so encouraging, right? So there's somebody watching this podcast right now, and
I can't believe I'm sharing all this on this pod. This was so unscripted. Didn't want to go that way. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
But no, I think it's so important right now. Somebody watching this podcast, I want you to make sure you share this podcast with that person who is a perfectionist. That person, I was the epitome of perfection. I was the epitome of a person who's thinking I have to have it all together.
Mm-hmm.
When you're literally whether starting a business, a ministry, or or a nonprofit organization, you know, um, if you got it all together, you don't need God.
Right.
You don't. But the fact that you don't have nothing is going to be the greatest foundation to build everything.
Yeah.
And so I'm hoping you're watching this podcast and you're thinking to yourself like, man, I tuned in on the right one
Mm-hmm.
because I've been procrastinating. Because we're doing a dichotomy of thinking here. We're dealing with that person who is frustrated and they like, man, I want to start, but I have nothing. And then I want to deal with that person who's at a point right now, you far along in business and you're afraid on how we're gonna get started, how we're gonna get more business. But you got to remember, we started with nothing. If you
Yeah.
started with nothing, what's the worst case scenario? You
Yeah.
start over again.
So
Well,
yeah.
best case scenario, you remember that God started you for nothing. If He started for
Mm-hmm.
nothing, He brought you this far. You're gonna last. But the key thing, I never forget. If my buddy's watching this here, I never forget that he was trying to start a church.
Mm-hmm.
And whenever he started to start a church, man, he had a lot of money rolling in, everything doing
Mm-hmm.
really good. Matter of fact, he was my goal in business. He's one of my ambassadors that really pushed me in business, and he had everything going great. And I never forget, he told me, he said, "Man, I'm gonna start my church, man. I got some money coming in,
Mm-hmm.
and when I can buy the building, I can get this, I can get that. When I start, I'm gonna have everything I need."
Mm-hmm.
God shut everything down.
Yeah. Oh yeah, I remember that.
The
Okay.
barge he's waiting on didn't come in, everything, and the guy like now. Start now.
Yeah.
He's like, dang, everything I was waiting on to anticipate to make sure I had everything I needed stopped. It didn't come. And now I got a choice. Do I just wait and just ignore the dream, or do I walk in the dream with nothing?
Yeah.
And starting with nothing is a great opportunity for God to give you everything.
Right.
Because it's
Right.
not the first step that's going to be the most important. It's the first instruction.
Mm-hmm.
Then you do the first step, and then you see the results from it.
Yeah.
Now that result is everything. Now we
Mm-hmm.
talk about starting with nothing, but
Mm-hmm.
when you start with nothing, God give you that instruction, and you get that first sprout, that first
Yeah.
groundbreaking situation. That's that thing that God grew from nothing
Nothing.
just with your instruction.
Yes.
And don't
Yes.
forget, man, when we was starting business and we got going and we did all this work, right? God gave us the instruction. We did the instruction.
Mm-hmm.
The instruction took a year. We
Mm-hmm.
started the business in April of 2020,
Mm-hmm.
and God said, "Hey, do ABC 1 2 3." And
Mm-hmm.
maybe your ABC 1 2 3 is to go buy a camera. Maybe your ABC 1 2 3 is to go buy. I never forget when you was talking about doing hair. Go buy the Marcells.
Yeah.
Maybe your ABC 1 2 3 is go get a lawnmower.
But Dave, I used to have. Baby, I know. Look, I'm sorry. Go ahead, because I was going to
But no,
say.
but maybe your instruction is to go take a class.
Yeah.
I mean, whatever it is, I'm gonna challenge you to go do that thing because what? Listen, you know for a fact you would love to go start doing business
Yeah.
because that's you trying to get a quick result. But
Yeah.
if God said, "Hey, just go do this, go do that," and we had a year from April of
Mhm.
2020,
Mhm.
really before that, but April is when we really got deep into it, all the way to I want to say around April of 2021.
Right.
So about one complete year, God had us doing all this stuff. And so we took certification classes. We did what we supposed to do with the house. We watched the house get built. It's like God had us. Shay, I want to encourage somebody so much this morning.
Mm.
God got you busy right now doing a whole bunch of stuff. It don't seem productive.
Yeah.
Whether it's you playing all these videos and if you recording all these things or writing the books, whatever it is, that's the obedience God need to see from you
Mhm.
before he got the sprout coming. So we did
Right.
all this work, and then all of a sudden in April, I want to say around April, I can't remember the exact date, I get a phone call and someone says, "Hey, I heard you got a business." And I'm thinking we're gonna start a business way over here doing something totally different. Because I was building thinking God was gonna take us one other direction. You was building thinking God was gonna take us another direction. I was in lady calls and the sprout happens. The seed that we've been sowing, the seed we've been
Mhm.
watering,
That part.
it came up looking different.
Different.
And when it came out the ground, the lady says, "Hey, I heard you got a business." I said, "Yes, ma'am." She said, "I heard it's a construction business." I said, "Yes, ma'am." And I lied. I told you this before. I lied because it wasn't construction. It was business consulting. And she say, "Well, we got some money that came through the county. This was if it would have been me, it would look different.
Yeah.
This was not me, this was God. And if it would have been you, it would look different." You remember that first sprout. I want to bring back down memory lane.
Yeah.
I want to bring you back down that point. And that person who's procrastinating, starting, listen, keep doing the work because I promise you, you're gonna have your moment. That person who
Right.
started and you're trying to figure out how am I gonna keep doing this? Remember the first seed. It was you doing the obedience, but it was God. The Bible says one man plants, another man waters, but God is the one that brings the increase.
Mhm.
You planted, somebody's watered, but God brought the increase. That phone call happened, and that lady says, "Well, we got some money come through the county. We want you to manage it." And then it was only supposed to be 1 month of work.
Mhm.
And that 1 month of work lasted till
3.
today.
Yeah.
Even though it was different,
Yeah, every time.
but it never stopped. So we looked up and the woman says, "But you got to have money to get started."
No money.
I said, "Ma'am, we a startup
You would start a
business."
business.
So listen, if it wasn't God, the next answer she was going to say, "Well, I'm sorry, we got to find somebody else." I said,
Mhm.
"Man, we're a startup business." And so I don't have anything to start with. So I'm sitting there with opportunity. She says, "Well, I'll tell you what we're going to do for you, Mr. Harden. We'll send you half for the material. And then when you finish, we'll send you the other half." That was the key that opened every door.
Right.
Because in our account, we had zero. Well, I said we had about $500 in the account, maybe. But go
Mhm.
ahead, I'm sorry.
No, go ahead.
You know what I'm saying? But that's what I'm saying. We started with zero. And from
Mhm.
that point, God have made every connection since. But I kind of want to talk about that for a second.
Yeah, because I'm like this, and I just shared this with the Lions Den this morning, is that God will make a way of escape. That's the scripture. God will make a way of escape. Don't ask me where it's at. It's in there. God will make a way of escape. But one of the things that I shared with them is that it's not until you put a plan in place that God will fulfill the plan.
Exactly.
It's almost like if you don't have a plan in place, AKA, if you don't have a vision, write the vision down, make it plain so whoever can read it
Can run with
would
it.
run with it. Even though it may tarry, wait on it. And I'm reminded of when we talked this morning about God will make a way of escape. I know it's in the Bible, whatever, but God will make a way of escape. And one of the things that we said was that while God is making a way of escape, is understanding as business owner, when you put a plan in place,
Mhm.
you got to trust that plan.
Have to.
And God will meet the need to the plan. He will only meet a need to the plan. But if you don't have a plan in place, it's not going to work. Write the vision down, make it plain so whoever can read it can run with it.
Yeah.
Even though it may tarry, wait on it. It's coming. Even though you may go through, wait on it. It's coming. But you got to have a vision
Yeah.
and a plan in place in order to execute what you're going to do. It wasn't until we put the plan in place to say we're going to start a business, and I never forget somebody ended up calling us, and we had a conversation with them, and they were like, "Hey, I'll be a part of the Harden Enterprise, and I'll just help do the vision. Like, y'all don't got to pay me nothing. I'm going to just help do the vision. But it wasn't until we put a plan in
Exactly.
place.
Exactly.
You can't, if you don't have that in place, it's like God can't meet the need
Yeah.
of the plan. AKA, if you're not dreaming, if you're not believing, if you're not having faith. It's so crazy, Bishop. I know I keep going back to this retreat. Brother Devin, you know what I really want my dream is for this retreat? For a woman not to pay nothing, for to give back $1,000, to be able to get a grant or somebody to sponsor. Look at me, somebody to sponsor this event for and give back to these women. That right there to where they just come
Yeah.
because it ain't about the money. I want them to learn.
And
I
I
want
don't
them
think
to
people
grow.
get
Like,
that.
Lord, please let it happen. Let it
Yeah.
be for free. Let them come. But go ahead.
And I don't think people get that. It's like obviously business is about it. We got to make money to pay
Yeah.
bills, and we got to. But the main core is not the money.
Yeah.
The money is the resource that you get to be able to do the purpose that God gave you.
Right.
And so if you make it about the money, well, money come and go.
Right.
But when the money's not there, what keep you going when the money not going in is the purpose.
It's a part. Yeah.
And so I think the key thing is that as we continue down this journey, and I know this podcast is probably a little shorter than most, but as we continue this journey, we got to make sure. My wife talked about the plan. Where do you get the plan from? And I want to make sure you get that down in your spirit right now. Where do you get the plan from? The plan is what you get when you in your secret place or your quiet place, and God's telling you, okay, He said, I want you to do A, B, C, one, two, three. Whether it's like I said again, I want you to buy the Marcells. I want you to, start watching videos, and I want you to start, getting some people who will just let you do their hair for free. So what's your plan? How am I gonna get these Marcells?
Yeah.
Who am I going to talk to? And so as you go through each step and while you're doing it, there's another instruction that comes along the way. Hey, I want you to, get in touch with the Lions Den and start taking classes with the Lions Den.
Look.
Shameless plug.
Right.
And if that's what God tell you to do, get in the Lions Den. And you just take it one step at a time. Don't try to,
Yeah.
like my father used to say, don't try to put the cart before the horse.
Right.
Get the horse, and when you
Yeah.
get the horse, then get the cart. But take every step. Don't try to get ahead of yourself. The worst thing you could do is get ahead of yourself. Even when you 10 years in and 100, when you 10 years in or 20 years in, and you make $100,000 a year, and you're making $200,000 a year, or even $1 million a year, you still can't get too far ahead. I don't care. All the time you got the business plan, you got the ideas, but still you cannot put yourself further along than what God tells you to. Okay, God, I'm here. If I get too far ahead, I start making my own plans. If I get too far, I start making my own ideas, and I might not even hear God. Listen, I know for a fact. Well, they say make business plans, all those plans, all those things you're doing should be tailor made from the initial thing God told you to do. So, so as we, we got to bring this to a close in the end. I know for a fact that we want people to realize that beginning is the most important part. That beginning, and
Right.
not just beginning, the most important part. You can never forget the beginning because
Right.
that's the piece, the foundation that keeps you going. So, what would
Right.
you close out with? Kind of get there to the end, and letting people know the beginning is the most important business. Because that part is going to be your reminiscent moment to hold you foundated,
Hmm.
hold you, firm to what you did. What would you tell someone as their? Because I really want to keep focus on that person who's afraid to start, and then that person who's afraid to lose everything.
Hmm.
Kind of give some last words to them to encourage both. That person who's
Yeah.
afraid to start, and because I don't know how to start with nothing, or that
Hmm.
person who's ready to lose everything.
I would tell this person this is that, first of all, start. You got to do that. Writing a vision down. What do you want to see happen within? I asked the Lions Den this morning, what do you want to see happen in 12 months? Don't give yourself 5 years. Of course, you want a 5-year plan eventually, but what do you want to see happen in 12 months? And allow yourself at least 7 steps in order to get that done. If that is number one, I'm going to, get an LLC, start there. I'm going to make sure I get a website. I'm going to make sure I find my niche or my clients or whoever. Do that. Take yourself on a 7-step and check it off as your to-do list as you complete those steps. Once you complete those steps, now I would say number 2 is get in a community that can help you grow,
Yeah,
or get a mentor that can help you grow. Invest in yourself and into your business, and make sure that it's a great investment.
yeah,
Date that mentor for a while before you actually invest into them. Just kind of learn from YouTube University. I would say that, but definitely eventually you want to be able to invest in yourself.
Yeah.
And I would say last but not least is be willing to make sure that you execute.
Yeah.
You complete it. Whatever you start, complete. Just complete whatever you start.
And I say
I
have
would say
fun.
that.
Have fun in the beginning.
Have fun, yeah.
And then if you're not having fun now, if you've been in business for a long time,
Mhm.
slow down. Enjoy the journey. Don't
Mhm.
get so focused on the future.
Mhm.
Enjoy where you are and enjoy your next step. But don't get so fearful because you don't know what the future holds. So
Yes.
that's our words for today. I hope
Yeah.
you enjoyed this podcast. A little shorter than usual, but please continue like, sharing, and subscribing. And
Yeah.
we always want to make sure we pour back into you with our experiences. God bless you.
Liza and happy hunting.
That's it.
Let's eat.